The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Nope, I did this too early. I will see you guys later. Good afternoon. This is Julia Talbot at the Department of Family and Support Services. We are, as you can see, I am trying to get my PowerPoint presentation to work. Here we go. Let us get started. Welcome to the final RFP for the last 2 days for myself and Evelyn Benitez and Lisa Davis. It's the One Summer Chicagobility RFP. Can everybody hear me? Looks like they can. Great. So this is the One Summer Chicagobility RFP. This is due on February 24th. With me today is Lisa Davis and Evelyn Benitez. I am seeing now that my slideshow is glitching again. So let me see if I can share to a different screen. And we will just get going that way. If I can, yep, there we go. Hopefully maybe one day I will get this straight. The housekeeping, due to the volume of participants on this website, on this webinar, everybody's been placed on mute. If you haven't been here in the past day, please submit your questions via the question box, and we will respond to questions after going through all of our slides, and use the question box to notify us of any problems that you might be having with technical issues. At this point, I'm going to encourage Lisa. I'm going to turn this over to Lisa Davis to get us started. Thank you, Lisa.
So before I go any further, Julia, is it possible to
make it bigger?
Exactly. Excellent.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
Excellent. Thank you so much. What are we? Afternoon. Sorry. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Lisa Davis, as Julia said. I'm one of the team members of this team that is doing the RFP webinar. I'm the Youth Employment Director for the Department of Family and Support Services. With me tag teaming this webinar is my team member, Evelyn Benitez. Good afternoon. We will be with you for the next 2 hours, and Evelyn will assist in answering any questions, if at all possible, that you put in the chat. With that said, any questions that you may have, please put them in the chat. We will address them at the end of the presentation. And as mentioned, if we're able to, we will answer them in the chat as we proceed. So as you see on your screen, this is the agenda for today. I'm not going to read through it. I just paused a few seconds so that you can see what it is that we will be going through. We will have allow you access to this PowerPoint. The webinar is being recorded. At the end, Julia Talbot will let you know how you can gain access to the PowerPoint. Next slide, please. So the purpose of this RFP, as Julia Talbot mentioned, this is the One Summer Chicagobility Program RFP. And we at the Department of Family and Support Services, the Chicagobility program seeks to fund agencies who have experience in implementing project-based learning, workforce development, civic engagement, and training programs for young people at the age of 14 and 15. Please note, this is the only program under DFSS One Summer Chicago that serves 14 and 15-year-olds. This RFP seeks to provide the opportunity to building the youth self-discovery and self-awareness through career exploration to young people by exposing them to various public and private sector industries and building their self-discovery and self-awareness. Ultimately, we are seeking to increase young people's income and develop their 21st century skills. Next slide, please. Oh, there we go. Thank you. The program description and goals. The high-level goal is to serve as a foundational track into career exploration while developing the 21st century skills necessary to achieve these employment paths for the 14 and 15-year-olds. The program will provide opportunities to engage youth in their community by leading service-oriented beautification, civic engagement, and safety projects. We look at Chicagobility, as stated, as the foundation. This is the start for all of our One Summer Chicago program. After 14 and 15-year-olds are in Chicagobility, once they graduate out of there, meaning turning the age of 16, they can move into the other two programs we have, such as Summer Youth Employment Program, aka SYEP, and Chicago Youth Service Corps Program, aka CYSC. Those programs start at the age of 16 and go up to 24. So back to the bullet. Career exploration is introducing the participants to a wide array of career interests and industries they would otherwise not have access to until later in life. Chicagobility specifically provides youth participants with foundational skills and resources necessary for workforce. These foundational skills include project management, understanding of technology, financial capabilities, and civic engagement. Self-discovery and self-awareness go hand in hand during this transitional period in the participants' lives. We do not only teach workforce-related skills, Chicagobility aims to develop youth into well-rounded individuals. That means teaching necessary social skills, life skills to the development of youth, which better prepares them for the workforce. Chicagobility is the place where we're asking you to expose them to career pathways, explaining what a career is, explaining all of the opportunities they may have when they come to you and they say, I want to be a rapper. Nothing wrong with that, but let's also show them, if you are to be a rapper, all the other career opportunities that are involved around the rapper or being a rapper. So we're here to expose them to these various career pathways. Next slide, please. Program description and goals. The project-based learning reinforces these skills while keeping this younger age group engaged for the duration of the program. Project-based learning is a teaching method in which students learn by actively engaging in these real-world and personally meaningful projects. Project-based learning teaches participants the value of seeing a project through to its completion. We want our youth to take pride in the work that they put into their project. We want our youth to understand the biggest step is starting something. The next big step is completing it. Their project should have an impact on their community, whether that means their block or their entire city. We want our young people to find the value in investing in their communities. These projects will center around service, beautification, and safety. Chicagobility's career exploration component prepares our young people, as stated, for SYP and their future careers. In addition, Chicagobility's community-based service projects also aligns with the Chicago Youth Service Corps guiding principles of civic engagement. Next slide, please. The background for Chicagobility. One thing I must add, in the background of the current state, Chicagobility was actually created with the assistance of a young person. It is actually a young person that named the program. And when I say young, she just graduated from high school. So the current state, since the program began in 2018, each year we have served roughly 1,000 to 1,400 youth. The youth work on projects within their communities that center around service, beautification, and/or safety, while also giving them the tools to succeed in the workforce. Our priorities for improvement. DFSS had made financial capability training a priority. We have learned that if you want to teach anyone, specifically young people, about money and how to save their money, the best time to do it is when they are making it. So youth are benefiting from the financial capabilities, also known to others as financial literacy. The training based on the surveys which showed that most youth learned something from the training. 37% of the youth who already had a bank account before One Summer Chicago, they report having opened it with their first job. That means that youth are most likely to open a bank account when they have their first paying job. Chicagobility is typically young people's first employment experience and the subsequent gateway to opening a bank account. A major part of workforce preparation and financial capability is ensuring that our youth have the appropriate documentation to apply for a job and opening a bank account. This includes the basic documents like a school ID, a state ID, and access to documents like their social security card and birth certificate. According to our surveys, only 25% of the youth report having that state ID. This is a barrier to opening bank accounts and entering the future job market. We want to ensure that Chicagobility youth have every tool they need to be prepared for the workforce. But career exploration and sharpening those skills means nothing if you are not able to be onboarded due to a lack of identification. As we go further into the webinar, you will see how we are going to address that concern. Next slide, please. The continuation of the priorities for improvement. Prioritize enrollment of at-risk youth through the online application and utilize a standardized assessment tool. We understand the vast complexities of community and social factors impacting young people in Chicago. While a percentage of slots are reserved for youth who may face challenges due to their disability, justice involvement, homelessness, navigating English as a second language, foster care, or not in school or working. DFSS is seeking respondents who have knowledge in assessing and enrolling these targeted populations with the appropriate support services at the start of the program. Respondents must assess these youth to ensure they receive the appropriate identified services internally and by external partners to address their challenges and assist youth to achieve the completion of their program. This includes providing ongoing coaching support from their youth coordinator to build positive relationships with their peers and adults to working on their individualized goals throughout the program. Next slide, please. Recruitment and retention in the program. We have learned that there is too long of a gap in communication from when the application is opened in March to the start of the program in late June. We suggest that agencies stay in constant communication with their youth, their 50%, which is their youth, their choice, and you'll see in the next slide what I'm referring to, but they're 50% of choice youth and their families. At the end of every summer, we foresee a small gap in the number of placements and the target placement number due to participants dropping out or being terminated. That number is usually not substantial, but we can always improve on keeping participants engaged until the end of the program. We suggest screening for any prior commitments or time conflicts before hiring, providing necessary resources like assistance with transportation. What we are referring to here is you will have your 50% of youth that you need to recruit, and we will assist you from our online application with the other 50%. But your 50%, you should be in constant communication with them in assuring them that this is a process, you have applied, I have you on the list, and we will have you on board in June. Because we have found, and understandably, the parents need to know as soon as possible, what am I going to do with my young person? I can't just wait around like this. So that we have found as being that barrier, that gap that we're referring to. And then the second part on when you're interviewing the youth for the program, finding out from them, some of them may say, well, I have to do a 3-week vacation or something. Find out when is that time that they have to do this. And asking them, well, if you're going to work with us for 6 weeks and you have a 3-week time span that you're not going to be here, do you understand what that will mean? So speaking to them and screening them out from the beginning and letting them know what to expect. The next slide will give us more information on what I was referencing. The target population. So the eligibility, they need to be 14 and 15. They must show proof of Chicago residency. They should have a valid CPS ID or a state of Illinois ID. They have completed the One Summer Chicago online application and have a signed consent form from their parent or guardian. Remember, they're only 14 or 15. Recruitment and enrollment. You will be responsible for recruiting of the youth. 50% of enrolled youth will be recruited and chosen by the awarded agency. That's the circle you see on the other side, the 50-50. This 50% recruitment will allow for delegates to pick the youth they know will most benefit from this program model. The other 50% of enrolled youth will be selected randomly through the online portal lottery. This will ensure us in getting citywide applications and the opportunities for citywide. Next slide, please. The target population. Out of the total enrolled youth recruited by either the agency or citywide lottery, at least 50% of the youth must identify with at least one of the following underrepresented populations outlined below. Individuals living with disabilities, individuals attending elementary and high schools that are categorized as level 2 or level 3, or option high schools based on the current CPS quality rating policy. DFSS will assign the schools and facilitate the linkage agreements to awarded respondents to ensure they are enrolled youth from these schools. Individuals who are English as a second language, individuals that are experiencing homelessness, individuals placed in foster care system, and individuals that have been touched by the justice system. Program requirements. DFSS is seeking providers with a proven track record in implementing youth development programs, skills training initiatives, workforce development, or service learning programs tailored to youth in the city of Chicago. We ask agencies to design and deliver a 6-week-long program with a focus on developing workforce preparation skills and the 21st century skills outlined in the program description. Key facts about the program are, again, the youth age, the minimum number of youth served per agency is 20 youth participants per agency as a minimum, with additional increments of 20 participants and 1 youth coordinator. So breaking that down a little further, you must have a minimum of 20 youth per application. If you wish to serve more than 20 youth, then you will increase it in increments of 20. You will have 1 coordinator for each 20 youth. Recruitment. 50% of the youth identify with at least one of the target populations that we mentioned in the previous slide. Referral sources. Recruit youth attending elementary and high schools that are categorized at level 2 or level 3 and option high schools. Agencies will participate in recruitment events in person and virtually and partner with school personnel on attaining referrals. In addition, DFSS will facilitate collaboration with stakeholders from institutions such as child welfare agencies, CPS, Chicago Police, parole and probation departments, homeless service providers, community-based organizations, faith-based organizations, and mental health organizations that provide wraparound services for youth and their families. Key facts about the program continue. The program schedule, it is 120 hours per youth in total over a span of 6 weeks. So that's 20 hours a week. The budget categories, the budget should include the youth stipend, the youth coordinator costs, transportation, materials, supplies, and the administrative costs. The stipend for the youth is a maximum of $450. This is not to exceed the $75 per week. Note, the agency is responsible for paying the youth stipend. ADP payroll is not available under Chicagobility. And in case you're interested in any of the other programs, just to let you know, the ADP Payroll Assistance Program is only available under the SYEP program. Youth coordinator wages is $23 per hour, 25 hours a week for 8 weeks. So the youth are working 6 weeks. Your staff member, youth coordinator, whatever title you choose to give that person, coach, they are working 8 weeks. We normally would assume you'd have them work a week before the program to start the onboarding and prepare, and a week after the program to wind down the program and prepare the reports. The Chicagobility program budget will support the following. As stated, the youth coordinator wages, the youth stipend, program supplies, public transportation costs up to 4 weeks for the 6-week program, and the admin is at 15%. Your administrative costs, the administrative cost allegations can be used for personnel, fringe benefits, operating technical costs, and/or professional technical services. Next slide. This is an example of programs that we used, or that the agencies actually used and created in the previous program. So the following table are provided to support you in their submission and program planning. They are provided as a reference to guide proposals and are subject to change. For example, let's see. We will say the community safety. That was a project created by one of our organizations, and the description as listed here, they visit the CAPS office to learn about community policing and resources within their communities. They created community safety projects, such as creating peace gardens, murals, public service announcements on Know Your Rights, and so on. And they provided links for resources as to how they thought about this, what were they were thinking, where they got their referrals or their reference and their resource information from. Next slide, please. The budget provided below provides insight for the respondents on expected budget expenditures for a program of the minimum of 20 youth. Total youth stipend is estimated to cost approximately $9,000 for 20 youth. As you see here, the first column, you'll say it states the personnel. We'll just go through the youth participant and the youth coordinator. So for the quantity of 20 youth and a stipend of $450 total for the 6-week program. For the youth participant, it should cost $9,000. The coordinator for 20 youth, you're entitled to 1 coordinator. This is their wage here for the for them 8 weeks. And then it has the total of what the cost should be for the youth coordinator. I will give a minute for you to look at the bottom. The only thing I will point out on the bottom where it has transportation. Yes, this is a 6-week program. We provide transportation for 4 weeks. The reason for that is the youth are receiving a stipend. One of the things we should go over with them is how to save and prepare for work, which would entail having clothes put aside that are clean and appropriate. In addition, the money needed for transportation, and if they are going out for lunch or however that may be. For transportation, we do 4 weeks of the 6-week program. Next, oh, there you go, thank you. The key responded functions. Under this program model, you will be responsible for 5 key functions: recruiting and supporting the youth, deliver My Shine, My Future trainings. My Shine, My Future is an online platform designed to help youth develop financial capabilities and job readiness skills. My Shine, My Future, it's an online platform, and the youth will participate in what we call playlists. But I do believe we have a slide that will cover each of these key responded functions. Number 3, engage participants in career readiness and project-based learning activities. 4, hire qualified staff. And 5, administer payroll for youth. Next slide. So number 1, with the recruitment and support. Youth will be recruited by the selected respondent. All youth must complete a One Summer Chicago application. The awarded agencies will have the opportunity to select 50% of the youth for their program. The remaining 50% will be randomly selected through the One Summer Chicago application pool with prioritization of the target population. Key activities of recruitment and support: coordinate outreach and recruitment of identified youth, develop and engage youth in a community-based service community-based service program. That's how I'll say it. Beautification or safety projects. Provide an orientation for youth and their parents. So it may mean your orientation may come after what is considered most working hours, after 5, so the parents can attend, and or having it on the weekend. Those are just thoughts and suggestions. Track and enter data into DFSS data management system, also known as CitySpan. Provide information and assist the youth to obtain their state IDs. This may include finding their nearest Department of Motor Vehicle, walking them through the process of obtaining an ID, or disclosing the cost to obtain an ID. But somewhere in there, in that support for the young person, you should be helping them, if they're looking for this assistance, on how to obtain a state ID. Program requirement, key function number 2, deliver the One Summer Chicago online training. All programs are required to facilitate online workforce and financial capability training through the My Shine, My Future online digital platform. This platform that was developed and designed to help youth develop their 21st century skills to prepare them for employment, including soft skills development and financial literacy. The workforce training modules provided will assist you to explore career pathways, research career trends, understand educational requirements and expected pay, explore volunteering, assess skills to discover and reflect on interests and strengths in coaching. Use summer workforce and volunteer experiences to build a basic resume. Financial capability refers to the set of skills and knowledge that allows an individual to make informed and effective decisions with all their financial resources. DFSS will provide the online workshops via the Be Payday Ready Financial Capability training module. We will provide these playlists for you. You will access it through the My Shine, My Future online process, or online platform, sorry. Key activities of One Summer Chicago online training: facilitate access for youth to online One Summer Chicago career exploration and the financial capability modules. My Shine, My Future will track your youth participation, and you as the awarded agency will also track your youth participation on the platform. You will enter all data into the DFSS data management system, also known as CityScan. Next slide. Number 3, engage participants in career readiness and project-based learning activities relevant to your program's themes and objectives. You will provide career readiness in the context of your program's themes and/or topical areas. Career readiness activities will include the development of a resume, exposure to the base educational requirements, career choices, and ladders associated with the industry, outlining and helping you to find and retain the documents needed to gain employment. Mock interview practice, workplace expectations, etiquette, and communication. So I know that was a mouthful, but basically that's what's needed. Through project-based learning youth, the youth will be experientially engaged and exposed to a specific workplace or industry. Youth will be tasked to deepen their learning and understanding via an industry-related project with a tangible outcome suitable for inclusion, a resume. Key activities for career readiness and project-based learning: design a project that is directly related to an industry. Engage relevant speakers from the industry. Help youth locate the documents needed to secure employment. Give youth feedback on their work behavior, adjust their expectations, and help them to determine and take the next step. Hire qualified staff to deliver the model. Before I read through here, one may assume, of course, that's an important aspect, that's an important part, but it's really important. And it is really important for that person to understand their audience. These are 14 and 15-year-olds that probably would prefer to be doing something else other than if you had them sitting in a classroom-like setting and going through these workshops and career exploration and self-discovery. You need to make this where the person is going to want to come. They're going to want to listen and hear what it is the team member, their coach, or their coordinator, whatever title it may be, make it fun for them to learn this. So when you're hiring that person, it's a lot more than just, oh, they like kids, or they're a teacher, so they'll be good at this. Some may think this is not going to be an easy group because they have stated before, this is like school. I don't need this. And then they drop out. So the respondent will recruit, hire, and manage a youth coordinator. The coordinator should be positive, enthusiastic, civic-minded individuals with connection to both their community and the world outside their community. The coordinator will ensure learning objectives are met for the overall program while also providing individual and group support, instruction and coaching to youth participants in a culturally competent environment. Duties also include administrative functions such as entering time into CitySpan and ensuring the completion of My Shine, My Future workshops. The key activities of staff hiring and program delivery: hire and supervise program staff to manage the program from kickoff to completion. Design innovative program focus on community contribution, beautification, sustainability, or safety. All program coordinators working with youth must be properly trained and have a cleared background check on file with their agency and DFSS prior to hire for the program. Administer payroll for youth coordinators. Personnel salaries and/or payment will not exceed the budget allocation unless supplemented by your administrative funds or an in-kind match. Next slide. Sorry. Youth coordinator, their roles and responsibility. The coordinator will facilitate, direct, and supervise all programmatic activities. They will act as the liaison to participants, agency, and DFSL personnel. They will build positive, strong relationships with youth participants and facilitate team building between the participant cohort. They will engage youth in wraparound services within their agency and work with external partners to provide additional support services to youth who are identified as at risk. Monitor youth participants, their project-based learning and skill building experiences for the 4 weeks to ensure that there is completion of the program. Implement program activities and service projects. Develop and implement creative strategies to retain youth participants throughout the program. Assist with the data collection and entry into CitySpan. Implement performance measurement tools and youth participants and ensure completion. Attend the mandatory trainings and meetings per request of DFSS, including but not limited to the trainings for CitySpan. Respondent must submit a job description of the youth coordinator position. Administering the payroll. Youth under this model will receive a $75 a week stipend for 6 weeks. Stipends must be directly paid by the respondent or their fiscal agent. Youth stipends must be included as part of the proposed budget. You will maintain a timekeeping system that tracks participant hours and must provide a payment schedule to the youth that ensures all youth are paid on a bi-weekly basis. If additional funds are available, programs may be extended by DFSS. Chicagobility programs will all operate on a reimbursement basis. Thus, it is vital that respondents have secured adequate resources up front to meet the program and stipend costs. Key activities of the payroll administration: collecting of the timesheets and the records in payroll system, pay the participants biweekly, and maintain time and payroll documents in a secure place. Performance goals and outcomes. To track progress toward achieving the outcome goals of this program and assess success, we will monitor a set of performance indicators that may include, but are not limited to, we expect 100% of youth complete the workforce preparation training via the online platform. That is the the My Shy My Future platform. 100% of youth complete the financial literacy training. That's also on the My Shy My Future platform. 50% of the youth will meet the target population criteria. 40% of youth plan to enroll in One Summer Chicago the next program year. And there will be an 85% program retention. To monitor and recognize immediate progress toward the above performance indicators, DFSS also intends to track output metrics that may include, but are not limited to, 100% of targeted youth will be recruited and enrolled in the program. Basically, if you are contracted to serve 40 youth, then we expect you to recruit and enroll 40 youth, and that will be the 100% target. 85% of youth will complete the entire 6-week program. 100% of the youth will be paid on time. 75% of the youth report a positive relationship with that youth coordinator or mentor in their program. 90% of the youth will successfully obtain a state ID. 90% of the youth will create a professional resume. 80% of the youth will sign up for direct deposit. In addition to the performance indicators and output matrix listed above, DFSS encourages respondents to propose additional indicators and metrics, including those that demonstrate early success and are indicative of participants. Took that so fast, I don't know what the last word was. Progress. Thank you. Okay, so you must mean hurry up, Lisa. So the guidance for the respondents. What you see here is what we call a heat map. On the right side, as you see, that is the map. That map is the city of Chicago, and it is from our 2021 One Summer Chicago applicants, ages 14 to 15. It is separated by 6 zones. We will go into what the zones are on the other side in a second. It is also, as I said, a heat map. So the darker colors are where the higher number of applicants were listed on this map. Just to give you a little insight, by all means, you can look at it, dissect it when you have access to this PowerPoint. So the respondents must indicate which Healthy Chicago Equity Zone, those are the 6 zones I'm referring to, they will be applying for in alignment to the Chicago's Department of Public Health's 6 Healthy Chicago Equity Zones. Those 6 zones are listed here. You must submit 1 application for each zone that you wish to apply for. So I don't like the way I just said that once, so I'm going to repeat it a little differently. For each zone you are applying for, you will submit 1 application. If you are only going to do, I'm only going to have 1 program, Lisa, and I'm only doing 1 zone, that's it. Then you apply for that zone. If you wish to apply for more than 1 zone, You can, but it will be separate applications. So here, the next bullet says, you can only apply for a healthy zone in which they can demonstrate a physical address. Multiple applications by the same agency for the same healthy equity zone will not be considered. You cannot give me 2, 3, or 4 applications for the same zone. If the zone is North Central, you can only apply for 1 application in that zone. Respondents seeking funding for multiple sites in different Healthy Chicago Equity Zones are required to apply for each zone separately. So if you're going to do, you can leave it there. If you're going to do an application or you want to apply, you say, hey, I've got 3 locations and I actually have addresses for those 3 locations that we occupy. One is in the south side, it's in one of those community areas. One is in the northwest side in one of those community areas, and one is in the west. Can I do that, Lisa? Yes, you can. But you have to give me 3 separate applications. How are you going to determine the zones? This chart here will show you the zones have community areas assigned to each zone. You will not see overlapping community areas. For instance, in far south, you have Beverly. You will not see Beverly in any other zone. They are not overlapping. Beverly will only appear in that zone that's listed here. Someone asked in another program, well, I don't see my one of my locations here. We're in Pilsen. You will not find Pilsen here because Pilsen is a neighborhood. This is only separated by community areas. Next slide, please. The guidance for respondents. To ensure geographic equity, the distribution of funds will be balanced by youth population needs as demonstrated by historical data from 2021 One Summer Chicago applicants. This table details the anticipated range of awards for each zone, meaning the first column, you have the Healthy Chicago Equity Zone. The next column, this is the percentage of One Summer Chicago applicants between the age of 14 and 15 in 2021. So on the south side, percentage-wise, last year we had 17% of 14 and 15-year-olds that applied in that area. Anticipated number of youth served per year, about 200. Anticipated number of selected agencies for this, we would need between 2 to 6 agencies for that area. Respondents are encouraged to collaborate in order to allow agencies to subcontract and expand an organization's network to deliver programs. Next slide. The selection criteria. The strength of proposed programs. This section on the application, to let you know, it is worth 40 points. DFSS seeks respondents that demonstrate clearly defined services to be provided directly or through partnership linkage agreements with other agencies that are appropriate to addressing needs of the achieving desired outcomes of the target population, as well as the needs of the local community, city zones, and/or city. The respondent has an effective approach to recruiting and retaining strategies for the youth of this program. The respondents' proposed program integrate best practice and evidence-based component for youth employment programming. The respondent indicates they will enroll no fewer than the minimum number of participants outlined in the program description. The respondent demonstrates strong partnership with community and other organizations, including the My Shine, My Future digital platform. The respondent has an effective approach soliciting and incorporating feedback for the purpose of programmatic improvement. The respondent demonstrates collaboration with additional entities, provides linkage agreements or memorandum of understandings. The performance management and outcome section selection criteria is worth 25 points. We seek respondents that demonstrate evidence of strong past performance against desired outcome goals and performance metrics and or other notable accomplishments in providing services to the target population. The respondent has the relevant systems and processes needed to track and report performance on program outcomes. The respondent has experience leveraging data to improve and inform its services or practices. The respondent has the relevant systems and processes needed to collect and store key participant and performance data. Organizational capacity. This selection criteria is worth 20 points. The respondent has the relevant capabilities and or infrastructure needed to manage this program. The respondent has expertise working with the target population and has relevant capabilities and or infrastructure needed to serve this group. The respondent has articulated a plan to hire and train qualified line staff and has or can hire qualified staff responsible for program oversight and management. The respondent has adequate systems and processes to support monitoring program expenditures and fiscal control. And you have organization reflects and engages the diverse people of the community it serves. Reasonable costs, budget justification, and leverage of funds. This criteria is worth 15 points. We seek respondents that demonstrate the fiscal capacity as demonstrated by its audit or implement the proposed program. You're able to leverage other funds and in-kind contributions to support total program and administrative costs. The respondent demonstrates reasonable implementation costs and funding requests relative to the financial and human resources. The proposed budget supports the proposed scope of work or the work plan. In the selection criteria, there's a section for attachments. Please be sure to upload your MOUs, Memorandum of Understanding, or your linkage agreements with community-based organizations, local partners, CPS, anyone that you are going to work with. Be sure to upload the job description for the youth coordinators and the instructors that will be managing the program. Be sure to attach your organization's budget for this program. Please make sure all program requirements are addressed. The selection and the transition timeline Today is the pre-proposal webinar. The applications are due February 24th, 12 noon. The program period is targeted to begin April 1st.
So much, Lisa. I can see a lot of good questions are coming in, and Evelyn's been answering. This is Julia again, and now we're going to turn it over to the sort of technical aspects of how to make a application and the fantastic and scintillating e-procurement application platform. So just to sort of start in on this again, our applications are due February 24th, 2022. They're at 12 noon. That's a hard deadline. We don't accept late applications. I will say this probably 3 or 4 more times in the next couple of slides. We can't accept late applications unless we reopen the entire RFP and make everybody who applied and got their stuff in early in on time. So my advice in terms of doing an application in e-procurement or for the city of Chicago, start early, save often. If you've never done business with us before, you need to register an iSupplier. iSupplier is the platform, the vendor platform that we use for making applications, doing your contract management, vouchering, all sorts of fun stuff. Your iSupplier account you will use to interface with the e-procurement platform, which is what we all use at the city of Chicago to manage your money, accept your vouchers, cut your checks, etc. So if you haven't done that, it takes a couple of days for your iSupplier account to be developed and activated after you do the application. So if you need one, I would get on that right now. In terms of looking at how to approach writing your application, you should review the RFP document, which is an attachment in the application, and look at your application questions closely. Remember that the application questions align with the scope and the selection criteria, all of which are contained in the RFP document. And so if you find yourself at a crossroads, you don't quite understand what direction we're looking at, use the RFP guidance, for guidance in formulating your answers, remembering that from the scope and program requirements come the application questions, from the scope and the application questions come the selection criteria, and from all of those things come our evaluation tools. So it's all connected, and I think that our very detailed and somewhat dense scopes give plenty of guidance and direction about kind of what we're looking for in terms of programmatic ideas or capacity, etc. Remember, there's a 4,000 character limit, which includes punctuation and spaces for each question. So it's not for the application total, it's for each question. So e-procurement won't count those characters for you, nor will it allow you to access your application after you press send. So I totally encourage people to write their application in a separate file so that they can use language or reuse language as the case might be, although it's always really nice when you put the right funder name in. Not pointing fingers to anybody, but I've read a lot of applications and I've seen a lot of really hilarious and curious mistakes, which make me so happy that it wasn't my mistake. I have my own. E-procurement was developed on an Oracle platform, and it was developed to run best with Internet Explorer, a browser nobody uses anymore. Luckily, it works equally well on Firefox, Chrome, Safari, whatever. If you have an older machine or an older computer and you're finding that the e-procurement's being a little glitchy to you, try it on Internet Explorer kind of as a quick fix and see if that irons anything out. Pro tip, do not use the back button on your browser in the e-procurement environment because it will trick you. It will tell you, it will act all normal, and then when you go to save, you'll get an error message. It will kick you out, and then when you go back in, you'll realize that nothing that had been saved since you hit that back button, none of your work will have been saved. And as I said before, save often because that's what we do. So some tips for working in e-procurement. So you're going to submit if you want to submit multiple applications, you will need to set up a unique user account in your iSupplier account. So don't make 50 iSupplier accounts for your one organization. but you have your one organizational account in iSupplier. You go in and you set up user accounts in there. They can all have the same email address, and it should be a functional one at that, because eProcurement will send anything, any kind of correspondence, it will go to that email address. So you want to be able to check the spam, which is where many of eProcurement's emails end up for all of us, of the email address that you put in there. Don't make something up, because then if we have to tell you something, we're going to use that email address and it's going to go into like nowhere, and then you won't get the information you need. The user accounts do have to have different names though. You can submit your application in eProcurement and later amend it up until the due date. So if you are like me and cautious about, you just want to get something in, you just want to make sure that you have an application in, even if it's not 100% perfect, you can totally do that, and then you can just pull it out and amend it, but you'll have something in there. Avoid the rush and possible mishaps by submitting early, and plan on submissions taking 30 to 60 minutes. We're going to go through slides that talk about the submission process, but I have to stress to you that your due date of February 24th is, we have 3 RFPs for youth out right now. They are all due on the 23rd and the 24th of February at 12 noon. If you have a question, do yourself a favor and get your application and submit it early, so that if you need to call us, that you can get through, and that you're not waiting on hold and you're not waiting for a callback, or that you have time to wait on hold or for a callback. I know for a fact we've had over 100 people in the 2 webinars we did yesterday. I already am seeing applications being started in the system. I know anything that we ever do with youth has high interest and lots of applicants. I don't want to see you not have your application submitted due to a time management problem. That, that's super, I see that all happen all the time. We do a lot of RFPs. I've been doing this a long time, and it just like tears at our hearts when we see great applicants miss an opportunity for, a 2 or 3 year contract that they could have avoided, because they just ran out of time, or there's some, and in this case, the submission took longer to resolve, whatever the error messages, whatever the process, just took too long. I mean, if anything, maybe submit early just so you get practice with the submission process, because it is not, as we will see, it's like 8 steps long. It's not like a press, whoosh, send, and your life is better. It's sort of like press, whoosh, and then like go to the dentist. It's not, so just give yourself time. Late applications will not be accepted. We have plenty of help for those who have time. So you can call, if you're having technical issues, call me. My email and phone number are in the RFP document. They're pretty much scattered over the website. I'm sure they're in bathrooms across Chicago at this point for, e-procurement help. You can also, as the last slide has my number, call me, email me. I try to respond to everybody within 24 hours. We also have an e-procurement hotline for help at 312-744-HELP. They work 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. They tend to get back to people within 2 business days at the most. They also, in the next slide I have, there's an email that you can email them as well. They have a slightly higher level of access into e-procurement to resolve stuff. So if you're really having a glitch, I might refer you to them if I can't fix it myself, or give you the guidance that you need. But so there's help, but you know what? Start early. Help is always available, but it is not always timely, I guess. And so if you run the clock, you stand to lose. Here's more about technical assistance. So on the DFSS webpage, if you're looking for more opportunities, and thanks to the American Recovery Plan, we'll be doing a lot of RFPs this year. Go to the DFS website and look at the alert section and look at the funding opportunity section. Additionally, this slideshow and the webinar that we're recording, the link to the webinar is going to be posted on the DFSS website for the Chicagobility RFP. It's going to take a day or two for us to post the link to YouTube, but I should be able to get the PowerPoint up to maybe later on today, probably tomorrow, so you can relive the fantastic glory that is attending a webinar. So if you have questions, call the helpline. You can email them at customer support at City of Chicago. They're really responsive. And if you're a person that you've just had it with people, and many of us, after so much time in quarantine you can go on, and we have a lot of training materials. They have videos, we have handouts, we have step-by-step guides. If you're more of a visual person or you've just had it with humanity, go and read our training materials. Maybe you'll find more faith in humans by reading them. I kind of doubt that, but never mind. Never know. If you're a new agency, when you're making your iSupplier application, I want you to know that you're going to be asked to provide this kind of stuff as part of either the initial intake. I know you have to give them a PIN number or an IRS affirmation letter of some sort, or just to complete an application, we're going to be looking for people to have uploaded their articles of incorporation and any amendments, and your FIN number, your DUNS number, your CCR number, and your certificate of good standing letter with the state of Illinois. I'm seeing here in the chat that it's, or the questions, is the user account one per applicant / legal entity? If we are submitting more than one application, won't each new application bid get a unique ID? So this, calling out to Ms. McDonald, you've set up a user account for one per applicant, not one per legal entity. You have one user account per legal entity, of which you have multiple, like people that can operate in that, using your vendor ID in the iSupplier universe. Each application will have a unique ID number. So it will be like, you're going to set up Marianne number 1 account, Marianne number 2, or, whatever, name the accounts after, if you want to name the accounts after the location, whatever you want, you can have them go to how you can have them just, go to the same email, but you do need to have a unique user ID, not a unique vendor ID. In terms of where are you going to find the presentation, Ms. Holloway, it will be posted on the DFSS website, but it's not going to be posted now because I'm talking and I'm still using the presentation. And we're still recording. So going right along, we do amendments at DFSS to mostly to do corrections, which we really try not to do because we like to have our stuff go out perfectly, right? But we always do an amendment to capture and provide answers to the questions that we get in the webinar, and pretty much, or call in questions that seem to be germane, that should be shared to a wider audience. That being said, you're going to need to know how to accept the amendment so that you can get on with your application, because as we see here in these steps, the RFP you are interested in has been amended, and so in order to start an application, you will need to acknowledge and accept the amendment first. So you are gonna, you'll go to start your application, and you'll kind of get something like this. Here, you're gonna say, if you want to look at the amendment history, you would click on this blue. To start your application, you would go to the actions bar and do a correct quote, and then hit go. And when you do that, it's going to take you to this screen, which is the beginning of the acceptance and acknowledgement process. The City of Chicago is very, very concerned and very interested in making sure that you understand that you will be held responsible for all of the materials that are in an amendment. Now, in our case, we use the amendment to do our questions and answers. But if we needed to extend the deadline, don't get your hopes up, that's not going to happen. But if we needed to extend the deadline, we would do it via an amendment. If we needed to change information, substantial or unsubstantial information, we would do that via the amendment process. And you're going to see here in this amendment description down here, there's always going to be like a little one sentence that talks to you about what the amendment is about. If you want to look at the changes, you hit the little eyeglass or the infinity icon, and this will take you, if you look just at the document number, that takes you to to the RFP itself, and you can download the amendment document off of that screen. When you are familiar, when you have familiarized yourself with this and you feel that you understand what you are signing, what you're saying, acknowledging, you just hit this Acknowledge Amendments button, circled number 3 on the right-hand side, either upper or lower, and that will take you to this screen where you're going to accept the amendment by clicking these little tiny box. It says, I accept the terms and conditions of the RFQ and acknowledge the changes made. Then you're going to hit Acknowledge, and that will take you to this screen where you're going to click Yes to indicate you confirm your acknowledgement of the amendment. And if that was not enough, you are then going to accept your acknowledgement. You accept the terms and conditions. So you're going to check another tiny box. I don't know why e-procurement has such tiny boxes, but they do. You're going to check that, and then you're going to hit your Accept button that's on the upper or lower right-hand side, and then you will be done. I find this process to be so long. It's always like, yeah, and then I'm going to want to lay down. But, persevere. Now you can start your application or go back to it. If you've already started an application, you're going to go through these steps, and the process of accepting the amendment sort of draws all the stuff that you already did, all the stuff you've worked on, into the new amended RFP. Now we're going to talk about how to submit an application. When you are finished with your application, it's a work of art. You're going to save it because you can't possibly save enough, in my opinion. And then you're going to hit Continue. At that point, e-procurement is going to scan your whole document. They're going to scan everything and kind of look for errors or look for things that don't quite line up to its little computer eyes. And you're going to get a number of error messages. We're going to have here, I'm going to go through the 2 most common ones. There's going to be, here's one you must quote on at least one line in the RFQ. You'll see here at the close-up, if you look right below the error message, you'll see this little tab that says lines. For DFSS, we always ask people to do a budget document that is then uploaded as an attachment. In the e-procurement world, though, the line indicates it's a budget template that comes into play more at the contract level. And to do this application, you have to put at least one placeholder number in one line. It doesn't have to, we're not going to use it for evaluation. We're not going to even look at it, but it gets rid of that error message. And so that's what, so if you see this, just remember, oh, lines, I know what to do now. Put in the number of your choice and carry on. Another very frequent error message that you would get is this quote value is required for requirement first name. In this case, a quote value is e-procurement speak for answer, and the requirements are the application questions. And first name is the name of the specific application question that required a quote value. And so that's how you would get rid of, you just go in, you write in the quote value, and then you go on your way. And then you keep kind of continuing and checking until you are done and you have no errors. And then you're ready to proceed and submit. So at this point, when you hit click or click on continue, it will put your application into this review and submit phase. And this allows you to basically scroll all the way down through your application, review all of the questions, like all of your answers, all of your questions, all of your attachments, pretty much everything. It's kind of like this is your life, but for your grant application or, your RFP application. And then at the very bottom, you're going to provide an electronic signature. This is one of these things that annoys me about e-procurement, although it's a fairly lengthy list. You need to put in your name first and then your title, and then click the box above your name and your title. If you don't, if you click the box first, like I did when I was working, testing all this stuff out, you just get an error message because even if you put in the name afterwards, if you click the box first, it doesn't like that. So put your name in first, put your title in, then click the box. And then you'll see over here, you can save draft. You can do a printable view that will give you a PDF version of your application. And then I couldn't fit it all on one screen, but your application on the, if I went a little bit farther over from the click the box, there's a little submit button. You hit that, and then you will have the confirmation page. Step 9. So let's just talk about this. I just went through 9 steps, more or less, for you to get this application submitted. So I can't stress to you enough, give yourself time to do this. Give yourself time to resolve any error messages that you get. And then when you're submitting, you'll see this submittal confirmation screen. And eProcurement system will send a confirmation email within 24 hours of your submission to the email listed in the RFP. It ends up in spam all the time. Please call or email me if you want to have immediate confirmation. The minute that you guys submit the application, if it's submitted correctly, I can see it. I can tell you, yeah, you submitted it, and then you'll know. I'm more than happy to do that. And you know what? Like, just, like, it's not a just call or email. If it's the day the application, the day that applications are due, email me, because I imagine people will be calling me. It might be harder for me to get your message. That concludes what I have to say about the RFP submission process. And now we're going to turn it over to questions. And here, just so post the webinar, if you need to get a hold of me or Lisa, ask Lisa program questions, ask me non-programmatic questions. You can ask me all about e-procurement. And that's kind of what I have to say. I can't thank you guys enough for showing up to this and learning about the opportunities. I'm going to turn it over now to Evelyn and to Lisa so that they can, I see that Evelyn's been really plowing through a lot of the questions, but I always like to have them pull out the ones that they think are best shared, both verbally or, for those of us who aren't big readers, right? So Lisa, take it away, and Evelyn. Up. Are you speaking, Lisa? No, there you go. I didn't hear you when I think I heard you briefly. Evelyn, it looks like your microphone is working better.
I'm glad to hear it. Here I am.
Okay. I'm telling you, I got to move to the other side.
We're like dancing
My
here.
apologies. My computer, who knows where it is? Where is the question?
You can use that, the mouse, or this way.
The question was about, because I'm on her computer and I don't see it right here, but the one about how many hours is it for approximately for the My Shot, My Future online workshops? Interesting question and a great question. Thank you. I'm going to go from previous experience with the agencies. Some of the agencies per week, it may take them an hour to 2 hours a week to go through the workshops. And what they do is some of the agencies will develop their program for that week around possibly one of the workshop questions. So they make a whole activity out of it. Some of them have it where you just go on and they're going to be there available to the young people if they have any questions as they go through the self-guided online workshop. So it really varies. It really varies, but giving an estimate, I would say an hour and a half a week to 2 hours. That's our answer to that one. Evelyn, did you see any that you wanted to specifically address, or you want me to pull another one out?
You can pull another one out.
Do participants of the program all need to come from the equity zone youth? Okay, I'm trying. I hope I'm having an interesting time zooming in on that, exactly what you may mean. So in regards to the equity zones, and I hope this covers your answer. In regards to the equity zones, with the understanding it's a 50-50. You, the agency, recruit 50%. Say you chose zone 1, you were awarded. So you're located in zone 1, and that is your where your program will take place. You, on the 50%, can recruit your youth from anywhere you want. The 50% that is coming from us, the lottery, we will start within that zone, zone 1, that you are in, and provide you youth from that zone. The only way we will go outside of that zone is if we run out of youth in that zone. Then we will start pulling from the next zone closest to you. And I hope that answered your question. If not, you still have the opportunity to clarify it and put it in the chat. And another question. I'm looking for the ones we have not answered. And Julia, if you happen to see any that are for you and you would like to respond to, go for it. Will the program be virtual? Great question. We are at this stage planning for in-person programming. Unless we hear something, because as we know, the pandemic, it is always evolving. And there are different guidelines that come up. But right now we are following the guidelines from our public health department and the CDC. So we are planning that in the summer, fingers crossed and everything else crossed, that we will be able to do in person. What we have learned through the virtual that is very helpful, when you want to have guest speakers, virtual has been a godsend. We've had guest speakers in some of our programs from Australia, and that is no lie. We've had them from Australia, and the only way that would have been possible was virtual. So that is one that we will keep. Let me see, another unanswered question. Evelyn was, for those of you that know Evelyn, she's on it all the time. So most of them are answered. So let's see. That's the My Shine, My Future. We answered that. We answered the equity zone. Let's see if we could just pull one that you already answered. Are single gender programs allowable, such as a girls only program? Yes, they are. We have had in the past several specialty programs, such as we've had a music program where they literally played instruments. And of course, to be involved in the program, you either had to have an interest in music or know how to play an instrument. So we do encourage all innovative programs, this one that you're referring to as single gender, and specifying, of course, why it needs to be single gender and the benefits behind that of it staying that way. Let's see. The target population in the chat box, we did. Oh, single gender. Oh, we both answered it. Okay.
Well, here's one about, is the program federally funded?
Chicagobility.
It is not, but I'll double check. Give me 1 sec, because I have the RFP up.
Can a church or religious group apply for this grant and incorporate programs that will enhance their spiritual or inspirational growth?
Well, that one, so there is the separation of church and state. And so we do have faith-based organizations that are funded through DFSS and in the youth division. But what we ask for specifically for our youth development programs is that it is about youth development, workforce development, career exploration. Anything that is deemed religious should not be done during city/program time, because we do not pay for that, because there's a very respectable line of the separation of church and state. And as far as this program, it looks like, and I think because we were making some adjustments to the budgets, this program will be administered through the Department of Family Support Services. It is funded by our corporate funds and may have federal funding from the American Rescue Plan, ARP dollars. But we know, well, I'll say this, that once an agency is awarded, at that time, we'll be able to make the clear distinction if it's blended funds or if it's strictly corporate or strictly federal funds.
Is there a match requirement for the program?
No, there is not.
Yeah,
and we love that.
So just to clarify, though, we do always ask as part of the evaluation stuff, you know, looking for in-kind donations, any kind of match. Even when there's not a required match, if you're getting a match, you should always tell us about it.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, Julia. And you'll notice for us, like, we have it as informational. I know Chicagobility, because we pay stipends, we're not necessarily worried about wages, but the things that came up yesterday for our SYP and our CYSC programs, that those pay higher wages, and people were asking like if they wanted to pay additional funding or add additional funds to those programs outside of, you know, that were in-kind share, foundation money, etc. And we said, sure, folks can definitely demonstrate that in their other shares, because then that just tells us even more that you have a much more robust program. But it doesn't make a difference, like, as far as, like, would that make you ineligible to apply? Of course not. I mean, this is definitely open to organizations in the city of Chicago, our nonprofits, our faith-based, and we even included for-profit this year. So that, I mean, definitely interesting to see, like, the array of folks that could apply. But just a reminder that this is a reimbursement-based program, and so just make sure you have the cash flow to sustain programs.
Here we have, are there COVID protocols that we need to be aware of for programming?
That is an excellent question. I'm going to defer that to Lisa Davis, although I know we're all working on this.
So there are, as I said in the other webinars, there are certain questions that we may have here currently that we need to check with our managerial team before we respond to them, because these are new things that are happening and continuously changing.
Mm-hmm.
Saying that to say, that is one of the questions.
And I'll mention that the very first question someone asked about the mandated vaccines, that's been quite controversial, just even at the federal level and how folks are interpreting that. So those are a couple of major things that internally, administratively, we need to discuss with our administration to give the proper guidance, because some of your organizations may have stricter protocols or just different protocols. And so know that we are definitely thinking and working on that.
There was one in here that both Evelyn and I, unbeknownst to us, replied to together that I wanted to.
The gender one you already answered.
Not the gender. It is, if we have 35 participants, will we be reimbursed for 35 and 2 coordinators? In parentheses, if 5 drop out or 35 sign up, qualify and commit. So I'm going to do a twofold here. When you say if we have 35 participants, your participants start at 20 and increase by increments of 20. So it will go 20, 40, so on and so forth. So you will not start out with, and your target will not be 35 participants. If you are contracted to serve 40, then that is how many we expect you to recruit. If you recruit the 40 and 5 drop out, if you're not able to onboard 5 additional youth, then it will stay at 35. You will have salvage from the youth stipend at the end of the program, but you will continue to have 2 youth coordinators. Because, you started at 40, you went through the program. If they dropped, you tried to replace them, you could not. It still has to continue for the other 35 youth, and it needs to have at least a 1 to 20 coordinator ratio. So trust me, we will work diligently to help you maintain that number, which is another reason why you should always have what we say in our portfolio: Plan A, Plan B, and Plan C. Plan B, have a wait list.
Yes.
If you have a wait list of youth, if one drops out, then you can pull in from your wait list. And let's see if any additional questions came. What is the reimbursement turnaround time for funding?
Oh, that's an excellent question. So I will tell you, if for those who are familiar with our city processes, I would say about 4 years ago, we moved into an online vouchering system, the iSupplier system, which is also what we use for our RFPs for our proposals. So typically for the summer, we work closely with our finance team at DFSS, with the city's finance team, our comptroller's office, and our what we call the VAT unit. And typically when folks submit all their documentation, and I'm talking about the voucher, the backup, and it's done correctly, typically during the summer, there's a turnaround time between 5 to 10 business days. So it moves quickly. Part of it is because folks understand at the city that this is summer youth employment. One Summer Chicago is a mayoral initiative, and so they prioritize our vouchers. So as long as the documentation and everything is done correctly, it moves. In the past, when we used to do paper vouchers, I mean, it could easily take a month or two. Like, there are some crazy stories I can tell you, but the reimbursements move fairly quickly. I also encourage folks that anytime they voucher during the summer, they should do it per pay period. So some folks will say, well, I'll voucher once a month. Some folks try to do it once a quarter. I'm like, no, you should typically submit 1 to 2 vouchers a month so you can see your cash flow moving. And they're really good about the reimbursements.
Let us see. So Julia, where do you say we can find the presentation?
Oh, you can find it on the DFSS website. Probably, I would look for it tomorrow. But here's a question. Is there a way to get in contact with other agencies who are applying in or near our neighborhood? Considering applying for a program in North Lawndale, but there's another group in North. If there's another group already in North Lawndale, I'd probably not apply.
Okay.
Don't really know who's applying for what until they do it, unfortunately.
Yeah, we wouldn't know that information up front. But if people wanted to apply together, like if you're part of a consortium or a network of other providers, and let's say someone wanted to be the fiscal lead and you would operate the program, I mean, you could apply together.
So from what I'm seeing, on the question, considering applying for a program in North Lawndale, but if there's another group already in North Lawndale, I'd probably not apply. Why? Go on, you should, I would apply. North Lawndale is huge.
North Lawndale is huge. It's very
And you
concentrated.
Lot of
have quite a
kids.
few applicants.
It's in North Lawndale.
Mm-hmm. Quite a few, when I say applicants, youth
Mhm.
that are in need of a variety of diverse
Employment opportunities.
employment.
Mhm.
Go for it. That's just my 2 cents, but reimbursement, church. Do these opportunities have in person? Those are popular. I have one here where it says, will we still partner with EAC? EAC is Economic Awareness Council for Financial Literacy, or are they working in conjunction with My Shine, My Future? They are working together. And for those of you that are not aware, we mentioned quite a bit in this webinar about financial capabilities, also known as financial literacy, helping the young people get a bank account and signing up for direct deposit. We have an organization, a wonderful organization, Economic Awareness Council, that assists in all of that. They will do everything for you, meaning they will find the banks that are youth friendly. Currently, they have at least
14.
14 different banks throughout the city of Chicago that they have an agreement with. They will bring them to you for an orientation. They have young people that will, as I call it, they are the hype group, the hype person, before the bank comes and talks about signing them up for bank accounts. The young people will explain to them the importance of it and answer any questions they have. So we just do not throw you out there and say, okay, teach them financial capabilities. No, we will give you the resources and you can build off of what they have. But they've been with the program for more than 8 years and they do wonderful work. What else? We have youth. We answered that one. I'm moving to the top, so I don't know, Julia, if anything new came in.
Can you use credit union for supportive funds?
I'm wondering.
You can bank at a credit union, and we don't, we always like to see if you have a line of credit, that's awesome, but we highly recommend that you bank somewhere. But credit, yeah, we don't discriminate or have a preference about where you bank, if that's what you're getting at.
Or if it's for the young people, there are a couple of credit unions that are also part of our Bank on Chicago coalition with Economic Awareness Council that participate in providing services for young people in our programs. So whoever asked that question, if you want to add more clarity of what you mean credit union from an agency perspective or from a youth programming perspective.
Oh, apparently we answered.
Oh, wonderful.
Fantastic. That makes us happy.
So if there are no other questions, I think we'll conclude the webinar. Do you have any final words of advice that you'd like to share, Lisa or Evelyn?
Words of advice that I'd like to share. Don't be afraid to apply.
Mhm.
Don't wait for someone else in your community area to provide a program for the youth or for your youth. I would apply, yes. You know, we have a lot of 14 and 15-year-olds that are in need of this assistance, and providing them with a creative way to learn about career exploration. A lot of them don't even understand what a career is.
Mhm.
And this is what Chicagobility is about. So in addition to, yes, you have your beautification programs and so on and so forth, you could be doing as they have in the past, working on a mural with your young people. And in between there, that's when they're talking about resumes, career exploration, so on and so forth. Because to do the same thing the same time every day, even if it is creating a mural, you got to break it up.
Mhm.
So they use that career exploration and workshops to break it up. So I'd say apply. Don't wait for someone else to do it. You probably would do an excellent job. You know your people.
That's right. Yeah, I concur with you, David.
I see
Make it-
there's one final question that's, is there any way that 2+ organizations can be partnered together by DFSS if they're looking to collaborate and have similar missions, and can DFSS make that happen? As much as we would love to put people together and play matchmaker, that's a real violation of how we have to, our commitment to being a steward of public dollars, and that having a level playing field for applications. We would love to be able to pair people, but ultimately people put in an application and we judge it. We judge everybody's application by the same criteria. You all answer the same questions. We judge by the same criteria. It would be unethical for us to be like, hey, these people did a really great half a proposal, and these other people did another great other half of a proposal. Let's put them together and give them money, because that means somebody else isn't going to get money that scored higher. So we would love to, we would love to be able to kind of play matchmaker, but the way that we, we have a commitment to being transparent and equitable, and to do something to cobble together a partnership like that is not fair or equitable ultimately. So that I see there's some really nice compliments in here, but other than that, we are excited to read your applications. Please do consider submitting them early. We love reading your applications and are always excited to see what people have thought of, and what they have to say, and how they're interacting with their communities, and really engaging youth and helping youth grow up in the city. And so
Yeah.
have a wonderful rest of your day and a wonderful rest of your week, and stay warm.
Thank you for that.
Take care.
Thanks, Julia.
Thank you, guys.
Gracias.